Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me and Ayana again today. Today, we're going to talk about the differences between fat fasting and protein sparing modified fast. You already know that Ayana and I have had our transformations, and I always make sure I bring that up until everybody finally stops taking advice from people who never had the transformation, and thus they are so off as to what truly helps people with overcoming sugar cravings and addictions and overcoming fat kid genetics or bad habits. If you've never had that experience, you think you know theoretically, but once you actually try to implement that very quickly, you will realize how off you are. And so this is why it is so critically important that you remember that we have had our transformations. I'm going to pull up our pictures here. You can see Ayana has dropped an insane amount of weight and competed in bikini competitions. She knows how to do it. She knows how to do that for her clients. I've lost 30 pounds and I've maintained it as well. And again, I know how to do that for my clients. It's really basic math. It's really not that difficult once you know what you're doing. So thank you so much, Ayana, for jumping on this call today. Do you want to
Yes.
go ahead and start? What is the difference? Do you want me to?
Yeah, you know what? We were talking, someone was asking about protein sparing modified fast versus fat fasting.
Mhm.
And I have dabbled in both, and they were curious what is better.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do
Yeah.
you think? I have
Yeah.
some thoughts, but what do you think? We'll divert to the doctor first.
That's oh, I love that. So yeah, it was a comment from one of our previous chats, and this is a cool thing is like sometimes I try to figure out what are people struggling with, and I love when you guys comment because then you tell us exactly what are the biggest points that you're thinking about, and then we can film future interviews on that and tackle every single question. It's like a Q&A episode that never ends. So,
Yes.
right. So if you want to define it, fat fasting basically means that you're eating meals that are 90% fat. And so that's really healing your insulin resistance at a record rate. Versus protein sparing modified fast, you're basically only eating lean protein. So you're only prioritizing lean protein and almost no carbs, almost no fats.
Yeah.
So the difference is that when you're doing a protein sparing modified fast or a PSMF, you're still triggering some insulin release because you're eating lean protein and protein does have an insulin response, right? If you want to categorize how much insulin response we get, carbs have the most. Different carbs have, different variations with like white bread and white potatoes having the highest amounts and things like maltodextrin, stuff like that, even higher amounts, even more insulin response than pure white sugar, which is wild,
Wow.
right? And then also don't forget artificial sweeteners can trigger as much of an insulin response as actual carbohydrates in some instances. So you've got carbs releasing the most or triggering the most insulin, which is the fat storage hormone, which makes it very difficult to lose weight. Then you've got protein triggers some insulin response, and depends how much protein you have. That can also affect how much insulin you're releasing. And the least amount of insulin is released in response to eating fat. So you've got carbs, proteins, and then fats. So on a fat
Mhm.
fast,
Yeah.
you're almost still, it's like you're tricking your body to think that you're not even eating because the insulin response is so little. You're still in that fasted metabolism. So it really speeds up fat loss like crazy. It helps you remain in that fat burning metabolism, and your keto adaptation is happening, which means that you're training your body to get used to burning fat for fuel at a faster and faster and deeper rate. Versus
Yes.
PSMF, I prefer fat fasting really over PSMF because protein
Yeah.
sparing modified fasting, you're sure that it's very easy to create a massive caloric deficit when you do that, but that insulin response can kind of slow down a little bit the rate of keto adaptation. So if you just
Yeah.
started a keto or a carnivore diet and you just very recently eliminated carbs from your diet or limited them to less than 25 grams per day, a fat fast is going to allow you to reap the benefits of being in that state of ketosis a lot faster. And that's why I prefer it. And it's going to help your mental health more because you're running on ketones, on higher levels of ketones as opposed to doing APSMF. And so for
Yeah.
me, I prioritize my brain function because I'm working all the time. I'm doing, client coaching calls. I'm doing the interviews we're doing. I'm researching
Yeah.
for my guides, researching for my YouTube videos. I have to film. I mean, it's just everything is so cognitively taxing. And so if my
Yeah.
brain is kind of so and so, kind of like today, like I told you. It's not gonna work. So I have to prioritize that. And so for that reason, I prefer fat fasting. Here's a caveat. I've noticed that if I do 2 days of fat fasting, by the
Mhm.
second day, my brain is like, where's my protein? Because you also need some protein,
Yes.
right?
You
It's
need the protein. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's true. It's true. And for me, it's like with the protein sparing modified fast, I get it, because you do, I think they say 1.5 grams per kilogram of body weight per day at least. And carbs are 20 to 30 total carbs, not net. And then the fat is like 10 to 20 grams of fat. And, so that I could only do for, listen, I probably can only do that for one day. I'm going to be honest with you. The fat fasting, I could probably do for a couple of days because it's just the reverse 10% protein, 90% fat.
Mhm.
Your brain works way better. And what I want to stress with people is that both of these are in lieu of water fasting. Like it's supposed to take the place of water fasting. And I just don't think that either one should be done long term, just a couple of days to maybe to break a stall or to increase ketones for the fat fasting and then get out and go back to your normal low carb way of eating, whatever that is.
Yeah. Yeah. If somebody, let's say you're an actor or an actress, you have a show or you have a TV role, you have a deadline, if you really want to get there as fast as humanly possible, what I would do is a fat
Mhm.
fasting day, protein sparing modified fast, fat fasting day, you do it like that. Of course,
Mm,
yeah, that would be like the fastest route to get there. Um,
yes. I like that.
yeah. Now that also means you're it really depends. I mean, I feel like I could do that. I've done it.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
it doesn't tax my brain. You have to see. At the end of the day, every time you are in a caloric deficit, every day, any time that you are on a weight loss, in a weight loss phase, you're gonna have a little bit more cortisol. As a matter of fact, I did a post
Yeah.
about that, right? Because there's so many people. It's like heal first, then you'll
Yes,
lose weight.
right. Heal first because you can't lose weight unless you heal first. And I hear that still all the time. And I disagree. I think you can do it at the same time.
You have because you need cortisol. Remember the graph that I posted? It's in one of my guides. I think in the dopamine body, you can
Uh-huh.
see the graph. Um, Cortisol is a critical hormone that needs to be present for the fat cell to release its fat so you can burn it. Without cortisol, there is no burning fat. Without stress, there is
Exactly.
no burning fat. So if you're waiting for a time where you're gonna lose weight without any cortisol, it's just never gonna happen because you physiologically cannot crack open a fat cell and burn its contents without cortisol being the trigger.
Exactly. It's like I just think that now I want your opinion on this because with both of those fasting, fat fasting and protein sparing modified fast, um, it's meant to be done. I think they said fat fasting anywhere from 2 to 5 days. Protein sparing, I know the Emmerichs love them. They recommend it maybe 1 to 3 days because, they're like, get back to your normal deficit, right?
Mm.
So with both of these, the deficit is increased. So with the fat fasting, I've looked up and it said no more than 12, 1,500 calories. And then I know the protein sparing modified fast, when you do it for those 1, 2, or 3 days, the calories drop too
Right.
as well before you go back to your normal deficit.
Because you can't
So
physically eat so much lean protein before you're
e-
like I can't do it anymore. I'm stuck.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think you could do both of those at your normal deficit, or should you bring it down to really
Right.
get the benefits?
Thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. You need to create a caloric deficit. So if because people can do a fat fast and they hear, oh, it's 90% fat, and they don't realize that the calories also need to be regulated, and then they're eating pure fat all day long. But then if you're eating all the fat, the body's going to burn that fat that you're eating first. Why would it ever go and tap into your stores? It needs to clear what's coming in first, so you'll never lose weight. At the end of the day, a caloric deficit is the critical element. I don't care what you do, without a
Mhm.
caloric deficit, you will never lose weight, right? And this is,
Exactly.
again, another major problem that is really ruining the carnivore community. That all of these influencers and health experts that are actively discouraging people from counting their calories and creating a caloric deficit. And then everybody's wondering why they're not losing weight, or it's like, well, I'm not really losing that much weight, or worse, gaining all the weight during the horrific priming protocol and then not
Yeah,
realizing what it's going to take later on to lose the weight. So you need
exactly.
both, right? If you're super young, you don't even need to be in ketosis. Even I mean, lots of people, depending on their genetics, they don't even need to be in ketosis. They can eat carbs as long as they create a caloric deficit. They lose weight. I mean, you've competed. Almost everybody who competes, they eat all the carbs, and they are just because they create a caloric deficit, they get shredded. They win shows. Like it's being done,
Yeah.
by millions and millions of people. But some of us, including my genes, they just do so much better when we're in ketosis,
Yeah.
when it comes to weight loss.
Yeah, I
Because,
can
yeah,
agree.
yeah.
Hmm.
And so it's just
I
so
agree.
much easier if you remove the brakes on fat loss because every time you eat carbs, your body releases insulin. Insulin is known as the fat storage hormone. It physically blocks the enzyme responsible for fat breakdown. Like it literally goes and blocks it. It's like it paralyzes it. And so then
Yeah.
just it doesn't mean and for obviously a lot of people still lose weight that way because they're more insulin sensitive just genetically or because they're very physically active,
Hmm.
but they would lose they would lose weight so much faster if they did it in a ketogenic way. So it's like,
I think so.
right? Because when you're doing carbs and you're creating caloric deficit, it's like, yeah, you're gonna get to your destination, and a lot of people will get there. It's just like driving with the brakes on. So why not just create massive momentum? And why not just lose the weight
Hmm.
in record time? You'll be happier. Your baseline dopamine levels will be higher because you've created momentum, which elevates your baseline dopamine. It's just a much more pleasant experience, and you won't be as hungry, and you'll lose weight a lot faster.
Yeah. And I guess because, and what I was really thinking about was when you do those fat fasts, it's encouraged to drop like fat fast is to drop it. Let's say your caloric deficit, you're eating at like 1600 calories. So if you do a fat fast, it says the original from Atkins says to drop it to 1000 to 1200 with
Hmm.
90% fat,
Hmm.
10% protein for
Hmm.
those few days and then go back
Hmm.
up to your normal deficit. So that is
Yeah, it's also maximizing the deficit, right?
okay. Yeah.
100%. And by the way, you don't have to force yourself to eat the 1200 calories just because, the like official description of a fat fast is like around 1200 calories. Doesn't mean you must eat those 1200 calories. If you're good, I've done fat fasting where it's like I'm just so busy all day long and I'll just have
Uh-huh.
a bowl of macadamia nuts and that's it. It's like 500 calories and then I get back to work and I've only eaten 500 calories on that day and that's fine. I can do it.
Hmm.
I don't recommend, as I was telling you before we started, I started eating a little bit of macadamia nuts here and there because it's just easier for me, like not to have to cook meats and stuff. And now I felt like I
Yeah.
got a little bit more cramps on my cycle, which is something that I had not had for a whole year straight before. And I know it's the nuts,
Yeah.
the plant toxin.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. But
Okay.
you know what? I
That's
feel like it's
interesting.
the price that I'm willing to pay because it's like it
Yeah.
wasn't too bad. And in exchange for that, I get much more productive days because I can pull off some of these days where I don't have to like cook meats and eat
Yeah.
and digest the meat. It takes a while, whereas I can grab a little bit of nuts and it like gives me some sodium, it gives me some fats, and my brain functions better. And it's like I did not waste not even half an hour eating on that day and I'm working. So I'm just kind of prioritizing productivity when I do those things Yeah,
Yeah.
like it.
That's interesting
Yeah.
because, the way we're talking right now, we're answering that person's question, and we're
Mm.
also kind of talking up here in the sense of we have that experience where if I wanted to, because I've been dilly-dallying and whatever. So if I want to do it fast, I know how to do it fast and get out of it safely. What would you say to someone who is not as educated in weight loss and maintaining muscle? Would you recommend these fasts right away or something more down the line to like,
If
break a stall or something?
if somebody is not prioritizing muscle mass, you said?
Yeah, and if they just don't have the education in weight loss, you know what I mean? Would it be smart for them to jump into a fat fast or protein sparing modified fast, or is it something they should maybe do later on to break a stall or
Hmm.
later
Yeah.
near the end of their cut?
That's the thing. It's this is
I'm
like,
curious. Like,
yeah, if you don't have any experience with weight loss, I really think you should hire somebody at least for a couple months to get the basics down
mhm,
because there are lots of things that come up like electrolyte imbalances if you don't know how to enter ketosis, and then if you jump right into a fat fast, it's like very deep ketosis, and you're gonna
yeah,
feel you might be battling sugar withdrawals and food addiction withdrawals, and like the symptoms can be scary, and if you don't know what you're
true.
going through, you'll revert back to eating carbs like right away. It's like, no, 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 this is like a fat diet, this is like dangerous or whatever, so if you don't
Yeah.
have that, I don't know, it's very hard. See, I've been nerding out on nutrition ever since I was a teenager. Even before I started taking nutrition, becoming a dietitian, I would like
Me
get
too.
yeah. So
Yeah,
like
oh yeah, I've always been interested, always since I was a teenager.
I love it.
Always, always.
That's why we get
Hmm.
along so well, It's like
Yeah, yeah. That is one of my passions is
yeah.
fitness. And so that's why I'm like, if I know I'm like deviating from something, it's that part of my life is not where it should
Mm.
be.
Me too. Me too. Yeah. For me, like if I ever get in a really bad mental space, I know it's on those periods of time where I'm eating whatever and I'm like, I don't give enough. And it's like, yeah, and then I get depressed and I don't want to live.
Oh,
It's
don't say
yes,
that.
it really wrecks my mood,
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like there's so many things that come so naturally to us that is so evident, but like we learned it when we were teenagers, and sometimes we think everybody knows, and it's not until you
Yeah,
start working with a newbie, somebody who just started changing their lifestyle, they're like, oh wow, like oh shit, I have to go back to the basics, and
yeah.
explain that
It
concept.
still surprises me where I'm like, oh wait, wow, you don't even know what a macro is.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, they exist. There are a lot of people they've never tracked, they don't know what macros are. And so yeah, it's I feel like if you're that much of a newbie, just hire somebody. It'll literally shave off like a decade of your learning curve and having to like troubleshoot and yo-yo diet and maybe not even learn how to lose weight. And so
Yeah,
yeah, that I believe in
yeah,
coaching so much, like
yeah,
every business coaching, fitness coaching, every time you want to really shorten the time period, if you hire a coach, but people think, oh, it's like hundreds of dollars and I can't, and it's like you're not factoring in how much money and lost productivity and lost opportunities in life you're actually paying for. You're paying infinitely more. Um,
yeah,
if you're actually trying to go at it alone. So
yeah.
yeah, there's so much that I mean, not it's not that difficult, but it can be a lot harder if you don't know all the things that you need to account for, like the sodium intake, like how long you can do a fat fast for, like are you actually in a caloric deficit or not? Are you tracking your steps and your exercise? Because on
Yeah.
different days, if you're like a more active day, and you're still trying to
Uh-huh.
follow a strict rigid plan on that day, but like you feel like you're struggling, well, it's because you're burning tons more calories on that day. So it's okay to go up a little bit more of the calories on that day, and you'll still be creating that
Mhm.
same caloric deficit, that relative deficit that you're supposed to be having.
Right?
Mhm.
Exactly. And so yeah, I just wanted to bring that to the table because I'm sure we have all kinds of listeners. I'm like, people who are very, an expert all the way down to like,
Wow. Newbies. Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah. Kind of,
So,
yeah. In this area,
hmm
we're all newbies in so many different areas. I am a
hmm
newbie in physics.
yeah.
You
Oh,
know,
please.
like
Oh
I
my
need a lot
gosh.
of coaching in physics to really know what is going on out there, you know?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah. So no,
So
but
yeah.
I just prefer fat fasting or PSMF. I know you've done long fasts where you've gone over 24 hours.
Yeah, 45
I have
hours.
not reached that yet,
Yeah.
but these kinds of fasts I can dabble into easily before I
Yes.
ever get to that level.
Yeah. I wouldn't do 45-hour fasts anymore because I'm just so physically active and I need to be cognitively functioning at an optimal level. So
Yes.
it was cool to go through that experience to see like, oh, you can do it. It's not that difficult. But I've noticed that if like I have no reason to do that. Like why, at the moment. I don't have
Yeah.
a strong enough reason to do that.
hmm
Autophagy exercise can, give me that. I'm in ketosis all the time. Um, but if let's say somebody, oh, I think you froze here. Okay, you're back.
Yeah, I think I did too, because so did you. But yes, autophagy can be reached by exercise 100%.
Exactly. So I prefer, if we're talking anti-aging, I prefer to keep working out and keep building muscle because really the biggest, factor that's going to determine how long you're going to live is how much muscle mass you have. So why, you know, I don't think you're going to lose I don't really believe that you're going to lose muscle, especially the more research I do on that. Like, there's just way too much literature that shows us you're not even going to lose any amount of muscle if you are in uninterrupted ketosis. But if the only time you lose the muscle is when you first start fasting, like the first 2 to 3 days is where you might see more muscle breakdown. But as long as you maintain that state of ketosis, then that goes away in the body. It starts to spare your muscles because now it realizes that it can run on fat and it has all this energy to run on fat. So why would it want to break down muscle to turn it into energy when it has all this energy from ketones?
See, and that is something I am fascinated with. Like,
Right.
I really am fascinated with the fact that if you're in ketosis, that it won't break down your muscle because I'm just so used to like, well, protein's got to be high, 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 high.
Yes.
And of course, weightlifting, the stimulus. So I mean, and obviously the weight training is still going to be there, but I'm just saying, like with the
Yeah.
ketosis factor, I've never thought about that. So
Yeah, yeah, I've really changed a lot of my coaching and also with myself and just making sure I'm psycho about being in ketosis and just
yeah.
once you see that you can lift actually even stronger than before, that tells me that I'm not losing any muscle. I'm getting stronger. How could I be losing any muscle, And the
Yeah.
embody tests that we have at the gym shows me that I'm not losing any muscle. So,
I was going to ask you if you're still doing testing on InBody or
yes.
something to track it.
I should do
Oh,
one next week. I should do a YouTube video on that, like a
you
physique update,
should.
right? That would be cool. I did a season of that, Operation 16% Body Fat. I need to start another season, another one,
You,
and give you
I
guys
think that's,
a
I
taste.
honestly think that's how, one of the ways I found you and then
Yeah,
started working with you was because of
true.
watching that.
That's true. That's true. That's around the time when you reached out, and yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my,
yeah.
I forget you were my
I
client.
remember that.
That's true. So, yeah, I think that was like 2021. I think that was like December, October, November, some around that period of time in 20.
Yeah.
We had just moved into this house in Ocala here, and I started that series. And I think, yeah, I think it did well. I should go back. I think people like to see like, as opposed to just talking about concepts, like a more personal side of, okay, here's here my goals, here's where I'm at, here's what I'm doing. I like to
Yes.
watch those
And
movies.
you know what? I
Series.
do too. And I know that my next video, which I'll be filming, I started already, but I need to finish, is, macros 101 because someone was asking me about it. So I was like, let me just do that for the
Yes.
couple people that asked. But I really want to also do that and just because I was talking to Courtney and I was like, you know what? It's been on my mind for so long to do a series of what it really means and takes to drop weight, especially if you don't have a lot to lose, but
Mm.
what it really takes because it's more than what people think.
Oh yes, yes, it is more, and that's why they fall prey so easily to priming protocol. It's just me, because it's a way to avoid doing the work. It's like I'll just eat meat. It's very simple, and then they don't get results. They get worse results. They're worse off than what they started with. They gain weight. Now they're depressed. Now there's more inflammation because they have more body fat on them. Estrogen goes up, wrecks their mood even more,
Yeah.
and yeah, we're
Hmm.
gonna keep preaching
Yeah.
what works until finally, and then you start noticing more and more people are like, you were right in the comments, and it's like, I'm never gonna do that what I did before because I feel like we're always the last resort. Like all the clients I get is like, oh yeah, I did the priming. And it's like, is there anybody who hasn't tried the priming challenge? And then eventually they all come back to me because they realize that that's just not the way to go. And it's so frustrating to realize you did this to yourself, but again, it's not your fault if you didn't know any better. You got excited. Any step in the right direction, changing your health is good, but sometimes you might do more damage than good.
And if I've primed, so to speak, it's only been because I was off my plan and I was eating too much. Like, I
That's
don't know.
hilarious.
And it wasn't on purpose.
Right, right, right. I wasn't trying to front. That's so funny. Anyway,
Yeah. Anyways, yeah.
anyway, I feel like this is good, right? Let's keep it short
Yeah.
and sweet so people don't see a very long duration on a video, have a heart attack, and then not click on it. This is a good place to end it. Hopefully, this was
Yeah.
helpful for people. Thank you so much, Ayana, again. Where can people find you, connect with you, follow you, all the good stuff?
Yes, at Pilar Fit Vegas on Instagram and YouTube. And I have it at Pilar Fit LV on TikTok because I just did a TikTok just before getting on here. So, yeah.
Ooh, proud of you. Content
Thank
game.
you.
Good, good.
Yes.
We need
Yeah.
more. You said that you
Yes.
reached out to my editor, right?
And he edited one of my not my last YouTube video, but the YouTube video before that.
Okay.
And it got really good views for me.
Mm,
And he did a fantastic job. So I'll be contacting him again
that's
as well.
awesome. That I'm so happy to hear that. Um,
Yes.
awesome. And then I have my guides at drzaldivar.com/shop. The latest guide is the Monster Mind guide. It's called Monster Mind, the supplements. It's your favorite, isn't it?
Yes, it's honestly Monster Mind, Dopamine Body is, the standard. You have to get that. But this Monster Mind with the supplements, I made my husband read it too because I'm like,
Really?
it's really good. Yeah. Hmm.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
I was like, this is good. This is good.
It's a game changer.
Yeah.
Like we already did a video, right? Everyone's on drugs. And so if you think you're gonna be
Yep.
competing with people that are the CEOs, the top fitness models who look a certain way, who perform at a certain level, if you think you can compete with that and not be on the same stuff they're taking, I don't know, you might be able to do it, but it's much, much harder. And so, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe if you're 20, I don't know. I don't know.
That's
But
funny. You
yeah,
can do anything. Unfortunately, we're not smart enough at 20 to know what we're doing. We're just partying, doing all
so
kinds of
true.
stuff. Fun times.
Yes.
Anyway,
Yeah. Yes.
thank you, Ayana. And everybody, yeah, check out Monster Mind, the supplement. It's going to be a game changer. It is the missing link. So Dopamine Body is the weight loss guide. Of course, that's like you need to get that to understand the basics of what more macros are, what are the macros you want to follow, all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Then the dopamine brain is going to teach you how to be in complete control of your motivation, in complete control of your dopamine levels. It teaches you how to raise your baseline dopamine. Having said that, I think you still need Monster Mind, the supplements, because you're gonna do a lot of damage, really good damage with dopamine brain. But
Yeah.
there's still that
Yeah.
teeny tiny little missing link that can be like the full answer, and that's in the supplement guide.
I think so. I
Yeah,
think so.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
I do.
Yeah, thank you. And then also drsarahzaldivar.com/coaching for my one-on-one coaching. And don't forget, within 24 hours of this YouTube video going live, if you sign up to my newsletter, I will send you a free copy within 24 hours of my
Mm,
carnivore diet challenge guide, the 30-day carnivore diet challenge guide. And the link to the newsletter to sign up is going to be right under this YouTube video in the description. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Those are all the pitches. I hope you
yeah.
guys enjoyed this content. And thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy this kind of content, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that little notification bell icon so YouTube alerts you every time I post a new video. Thank you, and we will see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.
Yes. Bye-bye.